One of these teams is going to have the number one overall pick in the NFL draft. Let's talk about it. Training camp started. Let's go into some storylines about the NFC West, what you should be looking for, what you should keep your attention on. Starting with the Arizona Cardinals, it's not looking great for them. Y'all. It's going to be a rough year, to say the least. Not only is Kyler Murray still coming back from this injury, suffered an ACL tear, I think like the middle to end of the season. Absolutely brutal. Obviously, Kyler Murray is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, dynamic, explosive, and you just hate to see someone like that not be healthy and 100% going into the year. That being said, I guess Colt McCoy is going to start. Clayton Tune, I think, is the guy from Houston that y'all drafted as well. But without someone behind center to really help elevate this offense, there's not a lot. There's not a lot going on here. I mean, James Conner getting up there in age, but still a consistent running back. But again, not the most youthful. Same with Zach Ertz, also coming off of an injury. Might be starting on the PUP list if I read correctly. And other than that, you have Rondell Moore, Hollywood Brown, Zach Pascal. Just not enough size, I feel. And I'm curious how a defensive-minded coach in Gannon from Philadelphia is going to come in and try to do something with this side of the ball. And even on the defensive side of the ball, you have Nick Collins, Osavion Collins, Buda Baker, who got that extension. And I mean, like, this team does not have the depth that you need for a division that has two major powerhouses in the NFC. So, I mean, how is the new head coach going to do? That's one storyline I'm following. And is there a possibility that they want to move on from Kyler? This is a new regime. They didn't pick Kyler. And if things are going bad enough, they might have the number one overall pick in the draft. But it's not who I'm picking to have the number one pick in the draft. We'll get to that in a second. It's a very, very likely possibility. They're picking top 2, top 3. And they also have Houston's pick in case they don't do too great as well. But those are the storylines I'm following for the Cardinals. And now someone on the whole opposite side of the spectrum, in comes the Seattle Seahawks. What a story for this franchise. Parting ways with Russell Wilson last year, and everyone thought that this was going to be the biggest dumpster fire. That Pete Carroll was going to leave, no more Russell Wilson, the defense is looking bad. And they just hit home run after home run in the draft, on top of Geno Smith being one of the top, not just quarterbacks in the NFC, but like in the NFL. He, I think, was top 5 in most major passing categories, and that took them to the brink of getting into the playoffs. And I think that this is the year they do sneak in for the wild card. It's going to be hard to knock off San Francisco for that division title, but I really do think they make it in as a wild card. Won 9 games, and you think, okay, like, well, what are the main storylines here? The one I just mentioned, can they take that step to beat San Francisco? Because I'm pretty sure they lost to them twice. Oh, wait, no, they did make the playoffs last year. And then lost to San Francisco again. So if they can't get at least a split in the series, it's just going to be really, really tough for them to try to win this division. So it's going to be a wild card if they're able to get in. The second thing is, well, Devin Witherspoon hasn't signed his rookie deal. He's missing training camp right now as of the 27th of July. When he does get in, of course, he's a rookie, and you got to let him grow, let him develop. But if he is anything like he was in college, on one side of the ball, and then you have Tariq Woolen on the other side, this could be a like Darrelle Revis, Antonio Cromartie kind of, corner duo. And the sky's the limit because their defensive line has also gotten significantly better, on top of getting Bobby Wagner back to lead this defense. Jordan Brooks, I know, ended the season with an injury. I can't remember if he's able to bounce back right away. I think he was good to go. But that's going to be a big storyline, because if they can be the lockdown corners that they have the potential to be, this defense goes to a whole new level with DK, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Tyler Lockett, Noah Fant. On the other side of the ball, Rashad Penny, or not Rashad Penny. Who's Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker? Just athletes and playmakers on both sides. It's going to be really exciting to see how far Seattle can go. Los Angeles. Boy, again, I don't see this team being very good. 5-12 might be a repeat. And I hear what you're saying. Matthew Stafford's coming back. And he's a dog. I know. Cooper Kupp's coming back. He's a dog. I know. And then who? There is nothing else going on this team. Aaron Donald, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the training camp and he's like, I'm good, fam, and just hangs it up before they go get embarrassed and he rides away in the sunset on a down year. There is no one on defense, no one on offense outside of Cooper Kupp. Is Cam Akers going to be back? Maybe. Is Van Jefferson going to be able to fill the role that Allen Robinson was supposed to do and just shit the bed? They have no one in the back end, no one at linebacker. No, I do like Byron Young a lot. He's one of the few draft picks that they had. I was just thinking, though, a second ago, do they have a first-round pick next year? Maybe they do. Maybe they finally are to the point where they get their first-round pick back. I'll have to go in and look at that some more. But if they do, who else is in California that could potentially be a replacer for Matt Stafford? Plays at USC. Generational talent, so they say. I'm just saying he wouldn't have to take a long flight. He's right down the road. If they do have that number one pick or a first-round pick, because that's something that definitely needs to be considered. I just don't believe that the Rams are going to do very much this year. And that's the kind of storyline to follow with them. How does their offense look? How does their defense look? Is Sean McVay, being the great mind that he is, able to pull them from the ashes and utilize that chemistry between Kupp and Stafford? But if not, maybe it's LA, the tanking tank. I don't know. So we'll see. But to the juggernaut, San Francisco, who could have very easily been in the Super Bowl last year if it wasn't for the injury after injury after injury at quarterback, literally to the point where they had Christian McCaffrey taking direct snaps to try to beat the Eagles. Not only were they depleted, but you can't win against Philadelphia even at your best sometimes. But to go in there with no quarterback, even with John Johnson, I think that's his name, the fourth string was literally in, and they were still at least keeping it competitive, which is just goes to show you how good this team is. They will bounce back. Granted, DeMeco Ryans leaves, goes to Houston. So does their passing game coordinator to go be Houston's OC. How are they going to bounce back from that? I'm sure they'll be fine. The defensive unit has already been built, put in place. The scheme, it doesn't really need to change all that much. So just a big storyline. Number one, Brock Purdy got the green light. He's ready to roll. He'll be there in practice. He doesn't have any limitations. So that's good. What happens with Trey Lance? What happens with Sam Darnold? I think they brought in Sam Darnold with the intentions for him to be the backup. I would not be surprised at all if we're sitting in week 3, week 4, and Trey Lance gets moved. Actually, there's breaking news just now. Granted, I don't know to what extent it could be. Okay. Maybe not breaking news. But Joe Burrow just went down in practice. He was carted off on a non-contact injury. You know what that means. More times than not, it's an ACL. It's an Achilles. But Bengals fans, if you're watching this, I just got an update that says it could be just a calf strain. The point I'm getting to is if Joe Burrow did, hope not, love me Joey B, if he got hurt and is out for the season, Trey Lance to Cincinnati? How dirty would that be? Actually, that'd be pretty sick. Or a best case scenario for Cincinnati to be able to go and get a top 3 overall pick from a couple of years ago to replace their potential MVP quarterback. So I'm waiting to see how that ends up. Maybe Jimmy G, with a medical history that he has, Trey Lance goes, follows, and replaces him like he did in San Francisco. We need to watch that storyline for sure. And the QB room overall, does Brock Purdy still look like the Brock Purdy from last year after this injury? Is he able to lead the offense like he was without missing a beat? Second thing, though, just to keep your eye on, speaking of doing this, what's going on with Nick Bosa and his contract? He's not at camp. He wants to be the highest paid defensive player, I believe, right behind Aaron Donald. I think it's like 30-something a year that he's looking to get, like 33 to 34. And maybe I'm making that number up. That sounds about right. So those are the two big storylines for San Francisco. If they can get their QB room right, healthy, the pieces are around them to go on and make a run in an NFC conference that only has a few teams that are real threats to get to the Super Bowl. That's all we have for today. NFC West, we'll see how it plays out. San Francisco and Seattle, going to be great to watch. The other two teams, it's going to be pretty shaky. Let us know what you think. Go watch the other divisional storyline videos that we have. We'll catch y'all in the next one.